I'm Adrian, the Cruise and Travel Guy. Cruise lines now promise you more choice than ever, but is one of their biggest innovations actually ruining the cruise experience? Recently, I was chatting with my parents, themselves cruise lovers, about how much of what we used to love about cruising seems to have evaporated over the past 20 or so years. In a way, it feels like the magic of cruising has been lost. If you're a more recent cruising convert, you might not even know that something's missing. So I hope that you can humor me for a few minutes and let me know what you think at the end of this video. Remember, when it's time to plan your next cruise or holiday, head to my website first, where you can search, compare, and book, and help support independent cruise reviews and news. Today, we're diving into the world of anytime dining, what it promises, what it actually delivers, and whether we've given up more than we realize. Depending on the cruise line, it might be called anytime dining, my time dining, or freestyle dining, but either way, the concept is the same. Dine when and where you like, with who you like. It really does sound good, and I remember reading about it long before it was mainstream and thinking that it sounded like the best way to cruise. NCL ushered in its freestyle cruising concept a quarter of a century ago, saying that it challenges the conventional model of cruising and is designed to meet the changing needs of today's cruise passengers. A large part of that was to remove fixed dining times and allow passengers greater flexibility while on board their ships. It was an undeniable push against the long-standing tradition of set dining times on cruise ships and ocean liners. In early 2008, Royal Caribbean piloted its version on a number of its ships. They called it My Time Dining, and it expanded fleet-wide in 2009. Nowadays, dinner wherever and whenever you like is par for the course, with cruise lines such as Virgin Voyages building their entire onboard offering around that concept, or others such as Princess designating entire dining rooms or restaurants to cater for anytime diners. Even ultra-luxury lines have foregone the tradition of set dinner time. Now that it's the norm, it would be fair to guess that it's just better, but I'm here to tell you that I don't think it is. With traditional or set time dining, you're at the same table every night, which means that you have the exact same wait staff every night. Over the course of a few nights, it's common to build a relationship with the people who are helping to make your cruise fun and relaxing. They also get to learn more about you, knowing your likes and dislikes, your dietary requirements, and even your favorite drink to have with dinner. I can't overstate how much of a difference that can make to the overall experience that you have during dinner. Comparatively, with the more transactional setup of anytime dining, it's common to see wait staff under the pump, as they're expected to quickly turn around tables that just seem to keep coming and going. It definitely looks more stressful for them, and as a diner, it's easy to pick up on that sense of chaos and stress. You can see that there's just so much more to do and what feels like less time to do it in. Before anytime dining existed, your only responsibility would be to choose whether your preference was for early or late seating. It was up to the cruise line to then allocate you a table and sometimes table mates. Getting to meet new people was the norm of cruising at that time, and it could be fun. You would meet great people from different parts of the world and get to know them throughout the duration of a cruise. For solo travelers, it was especially good too, because it would be a bit of an icebreaker and help you meet people for the rest of the voyage. For the most part, this was a good thing, but in the event that you didn't quite get along with your fellow diners, a quick, sometimes awkward word with the maitre d' would see you usually resettled somewhere else. Dining times also correlated with evening showtime, allowing diners at both seatings to see the main event show without having to plan their night around dinner. Now it feels like extra work to make sure that you choose a dinner time around shows and events that you want to catch, and many times you don't even know what those are until you're on board, and by then it's often too late to secure your preferred dining time. There's also something to be said for just not having to plan or think about when or where to have dinner. Traditional dining just naturally felt more calm and elevated and elegant. After the first dinner service, there was really no chaos or anything because everyone knew where to go. It was always the same place. Today's flexible dining, especially around peak times, can sometimes feel like a cluster of chaos for both passengers and crew. When traveling with a group of family or friends, it's also nice just to come together at the end of the day and sort of share the tales from whatever day you experienced on board or ashore, and having a consistent place and time to do that just makes life easier. My family chose traditional dining during a cruise on board Royal Princess last year, and within a day our servers knew us and we knew them, and we felt like we were royalty every night. Dinner became a real highlight during that cruise, and we still talk about it today. I know I've been critical so far, but it's not all bad. There are definitely some upsides to anytime dining that people swear by. Getting to eat when you want, where you want, with who you want has become a pretty basic expectation of the modern traveler. And anecdotally, people today seem less willing to share a table with strangers during their holiday. So for those seeking more privacy, anytime dining is really a way to ensure that you will have that sense of privacy during your cruise. Having said that, as more and more two-top tables have been squeezed into existing dining spaces, the space between them is laughable. Sitting 15 centimeters from another couple pretending that you can't hear their conversation is often more awkward than just sitting at a shared table. Anytime dining is also a very marketable feature that makes cruising feel more like holidaying at a land-based resort. In a world where cruise lines are continuing to chase people that have never cruised before, there's a clear incentive to do that. During a port-intensive cruise, anytime dining offers greater flexibility for those taking advantage of every hour ashore. Arguably, anytime dining has also led to the creation of more specialty dining venues. Whether this is a good thing or not, we'll probably come back and revisit in another video. But essentially, more choice around mealtime has in many ways grown off the back of anytime dining. No set schedules and more flexibility are alluring concepts, and there's a freedom to that which I think resonates with most people. Change can occur so slowly and so stealthily that you almost miss it. As cruising has exploded in popularity, some of its key attributes and qualities have been replaced with what can feel more disposable, all under the guise, I think, of the perception of flexibility and freedom. For a long time, I would immediately default to the anytime dining option when I booked a cruise. I realized, though, that the promise of freedom came at the cost of the overall experience. Ever since, and assuming it's available on board, I now choose traditional dining. Now, I tend to come away from a cruise having had a much more enjoyable and consistent experience. I love hearing your thoughts as always, and I'm sure that the comment section will be full of different opinions for this video. So let me know, do you think that anytime dining has made the cruise experience better? Or do you miss the charm and the connection of the old ways? Is there a cruise line that you think has the balance right between the freedom and tradition? Let me know. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a topic that I've been thinking about for some time, and I actually did see Chris Frame cover this in his Expert Cruising podcast as well, so you can catch that over on his channel. Remember, when it's time to book your next cruise, head to my website first, and you can give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram at The Cruise and Travel Guy. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Before anytime dining existed, your only job was to choose whether you wanted late or early. Nope, why would I say late first? It was then up to the cruise line to determine which table you would be at, and sometimes, if you weren't traveling with a large enough group or family, what? And it was the norm to meet new people over dinner and get to know them throughout as